new mobs and weapons from the Minecraft Live announcement are now in-game. Hello there, Ray here. Let's take a look at everything new that came out in today's Java Snapshot as well as Bedrock preview, then show how the recent full release of 1.21.10 will change some of your stuff, and then explain how you guys can get the new copper cape. And don't forget to leave a like on the video. The new Nautilus mob was added to Minecraft today. Look at that. It's really vibrant and it does have like little swirls with kind of a pink and white design, which looks just like the Nautilus shell item. And then the actual little creature is sticking out the front. They're like kind of like little squids, so they have a bunch of tentacles and their eyes out there. And because they shoot water that direction, then they move that way. But what's really cool is they actually make these little bubble particles as they swim. Oh, that's so cute. And the Nautilus mob can be found in all the different types of oceans in Minecraft. So you don't have to go to a special place or go like really deep in order to find them, which is really nice. And if we go ahead and kill it, wow, this thing is actually pretty tough. And it drops some XP. I did not get no shell from it. And I'm using a max looting sword. So hopefully they added so they drop shells, because that would be kind of odd if they did not. And of course for creative players there's the spawn egg, which looks really cool. It has like the shell being shown and a little bit of them. Of course every water mob has a little puddle of water underneath of it. Now these mobs are neutral, meaning they won't attack you, but if you attack them, then they'll do kind of a dash attack and hit you. But don't look. Oh, it looks like, okay, yeah, he's still mad at me. Okay. Oh, that's so cool. They take a little break and then they seem like they come over and keep attacking you. And if there are pufferfish near them, they'll do their dash attack to actually attack the pufferfish. But this part of them doesn't seem to be working currently. And they can be tamed in survival by using pufferfish, like pufferfish in a bucket, and they will be immediately tamed. Even though during the Minecraft Live they said that they could be tamed using all fish, they actually must have decided to change that, because now it only works with the pufferfish in the bucket or like the pufferfish item. It just takes more normal pufferfish in order to get them completely tamed compared to just one pufferfish in a bucket. Once they are tamed, you just use a normal saddle on them and that will place it onto them, and then you can right click it and ride them. And this will give you the new effect which you can see in the top right corner, which is called Breath of the Nautilus. It looks really cool. It even has like a little highlight similar to special effects. And when you have this Breath of the Nautilus effect, you won't have to worry about your air bubbles going down. They'll just freeze in place. So you won't need to have like water breathing potions while you're riding it. And then once you dismount, the effect is removed after a couple seconds. And the new Nautilus effect is needed for the advancement How Did We Get Here, where you have to get every single type of effect at the same time. Which does mean I'm going to have to update my machine, which lets you get all the effects easily at once. And the way you move it is you use your WASD keys, so you can move forward, you can move sideways, and even backwards. If you want to go down, you have to look that direction and then push forward. And if you want to go up, you have to look up and push forward. If you push crouch, you're going to dismount. So it's just like a happy gas. But you can do their dash effect similar to like a camel by pressing the space bar. You want to press it and hold it down, and then when it reaches far to the right where it turns orange, and then that's when you release the space bar, kind of similar to like timing a horse jump so that you get the highest jump. Now the dash effect doesn't seem to actually hurt other mobs when you run into them, unlike when the Nautilus does it to you. Now it's definitely slower than using a dolphin and with dolphin's grace, and it seems about the same speed as maybe a boat. And there is a cooldown on the dash, so after you do it, you can't do it again. Notice the hotbar will change from being kind of uniform color into showing the different lines with XPs, and then that's when you know when you can use it again. And it looks like the drowns can't reach me when I'm up here, but you can see that their health is set to 7, which is an average amount of health. And because they are a water mob, when you place them on land, they will suffocate, and they will eventually die. And you can breed these guys with some pufferfish, and then when they come together, they will produce a baby. Oh, look at that thing. Oh, it's a lot lighter color, and it's so cute. Small little thing. Of course, these guys can also be grown up by using a lot of food on them. There it goes. And if you're holding the food that they like, they'll come towards you. Now once you do tame one up, they will kind of stay in an area and will only roam out about 32 blocks from their home area. And ones with saddles will roam even less than the other ones, roaming only 16 blocks from their home area. And once tamed, they can also wear the new Nautilus armor, so if you just right click it, they'll be put onto them. There's copper, which camouflages nicely with their pink skin. There's also iron, which looks really shiny. Gold looks amazing. Looks like they're really blinging it out. Of course, a diamond is probably the coolest looking one. But unlike horse armor, they do also have a netherite Nautilus armor, which looks really tanky. And all the new Nautilus armor can be found in buried treasure, ocean runes, as well as shipwreck chest. The second new mob that came out today is the zombie Nautilus. You can see these things look amazing. They got like a bunch of moss on their shell. The shell is lacking color, and they're like super dark green with these kind of like deadish glowing eyes, which is really scary. Now these Nautiluses are also neutral if they don't have a drown rider. But if you would hit them, then they're going to attack you just like the normal Nautilus. Let's see what it looks like when you put armor onto it. Oh wow, yeah. Looks like it's ready for battle. And these guys can also be tamed using pufferfish and can have saddles be put on them and rode just like any other Nautilus. It's kind of cool when you breach the water. Oh! And because they're undead, I guess they do burn in the skylight, so be careful when you breach the water. The zombie Nautilus also has a spawn egg, which you can get in creative, and it looks really cool. Now the zombie Nautilus will only attack if it spawns in with a drown riding it. So here we have the one that just naturally spawned in, which is crazy looking. And when they do spawn in with drowns on top of them, their drowns will have a trident, which makes them extra deadly. Not only do they swim towards you, but they're also going to shoot at you. The zombie Nautilus you'll find in survival will always have a drown on top. And as part of my Farm Everything series, I'll be definitely making farms for the Nautilus as well as the zombie Nautilus, and even getting the rare jockey variant, so look forward to that. What other questions do you guys have about the Nautilus or the zombie Nautilus or this crazy jockey Nautilus? Let me know down in the comments and I'll answer them in a future shorts video. This update also came out with the new spear. This new weapon can be crafted in a crafting table with 2 sticks and then whatever type of ingot you need in order to craft it up, with the wood one using a plank. This is really cheap and is just as cheap as making a shovel. You can easily make a diamond spear pretty early on. But if you want to upgrade to netherite, you still need to use the smithing table as well as the netherite upgrade template in order to convert your diamond one into a netherite one. Now there's 2 ways you can use a spear. You can use the left click to just jab. This does low damage but also does a knockback, and there is cooldowns between attacks. The lower tier it is, the faster you can jab and it will reset faster. Where the higher tiers are considered heavier, so after you attack, it takes a while to attack again. They can also hit multiple mobs at once, which is really cool, kind of like the sword sweeping attack. And if you're holding this in your hand and you try to break other blocks, it will not try to break them. So it's probably a good tool to put in your friend's hand if he keeps breaking stuff at your base, which would be nice to point at things without actually having the chance of like breaking it. I love when Minecraft adds in little niche things like this. You can see the attack damage is 4, which is similar to some weaker types of swords, but the attack speed is faster. The spears also have a charge attack. So the first one uses the left click button. This one uses the right click button. But you want to hold it down, and this is going to hold the spear out in front of you. And now it's like holding a big huge poking thing in front of you, so whatever you run into, you're going to damage it. This is a really cool thing to actually play around in Minecraft, just running into stuff and not even having to actually whack. So instead of having to time your attacks, you just have to keep running into your opponent. The amount of damage you actually do is based on the player's angle, so how straight you're facing, as well as the material of the spear you're using. But besides the material as well as angle, it's also taken in the velocity of both the person who's holding it and charging as well as the mob. So if you're both running towards each other, the velocity is going to be greater, meaning the damage is going to be greater. Looks like there is some like miss hits where like it doesn't actually show when you hit it. But it does look like it's possible to miss. But while you're holding down the button, it doesn't stay perfectly straight all the time. When it is perfectly straight, that is the best. And this is called engage. The spear will deal damage, also do knockback, and it will dismount enemies if the speed is above a threshold. So let's give this a go. I wasn't able to get the speed thing to dismount them, but that will be really cool to dismount other players from their steeds. But after the first stage, then the spear is going to rotate to be vertical, and it's going to start to shake. This stage is called tired. Now at this stage it can still do damage as well as do knockback, it just cannot do dismounting of mobs. With the third stage, if you hold it really long, this is where the spear will begin to lower. So notice it's pointing downwards now. This is called disengaged. At this point it will only do damage, it will not do knockback. And then after that third stage, then the spear will automatically reset so that you're holding it up, and now it'll do no damage when you run into stuff. So you cannot do like an AFK session where you just sit there and hold down the spear. We'll still seem to need auto clickers in order to operate this. Now when other mobs use a spear, the distance they can reach is going to be half of that of the player. That way players can always outreach them even though they do have a spear, so they do have a slight reach advantage. They can actually do the dismounting as well as the knockback part of the spear at half the speed the player needs to be in order to pull it off. But it looks like currently they don't know really how to use their spear because like he just keeps walking up to me. It doesn't actually do any damage to me. Oh, that really hurted. I guess he needs kind of like a straight area. But normal zombies as well as husk and zombified piglins will all know how to use the charge part of the spear so that they can actually do damage to you, rather than just using the whacking part of the spear. That zombie just accidentally attacked the other zombie. There's also a new enchantment that you can put onto the spear. This is called Lunge. It goes from level 1 all the way up to 3. And this enchantment is exclusive to spear, so you can't put on anything else. This enchantment only works with the jab, the left mouse click button. So when you click with this, it will launch the player in that direction. And the more horizontal you aim, the farther it will launch you. If we look upwards, we don't go very far. But every time you use this launch, it's going to use up a lot of durability. Using just one time used up 100 durability. So it's really costly. So definitely want to keep an eye on your durability so you don't destroy it. But definitely a really cool tool to get in really close to your opponent really quickly, while also doing a lot of damage. You can find the new spear with the chance of it being found inside of buried treasure, with iron ones found inside of these, with ocean runes having a chance at having a stone spear. Inside of the weaponsmith chests inside of villages, you can find the copper as well as iron spears. Or in bastions as well as end cities, there's a chance of finding a diamond spear. What other things should I test out with the new spear? Let me know down below and I'll put it in that future video. The next new mob is the zombie horse. These can now be found naturally inside of Minecraft in survival. They spawn here in savanna biomes as well as in plain biomes, and they are considered a hostile mob, meaning that they will only spawn if it's dark, and when it turns daytime, they will burn in the sunlight like other undead mobs. They also use the hostile mob cap to spawn in, so if you have a bunch of these in, you'll prevent other hostile mobs from spawning. Or if you want more of these to spawn in, make sure to get rid of other hostile mobs. But when you're in survival, they're not like hostile towards you, they're not gonna like attack you or anything. But the way you'll find them naturally in the game is when they spawn in with a zombie on top that's holding a spear. So even though the horse itself won't hurt you, the guy on top of the spear will definitely attack you. And you can see how the charge attack comes into effect, where he'll run away and then he'll come back at you and stab you. And he does have the iron spear, so it's kind of powerful. Now because the zombie horse is a hostile mob, it will despawn like other hostile mobs unless you tame it. Once tamed, they'll be given the persistence tag, meaning they won't hold up the hostile mob cap and they won't despawn. So I'll definitely be making a farm to get tons of these zombie horses automatically, as I have already made several farms in order to automatically get the skeleton horses. The way you tame these guys is just like other horses. Once tamed, you can put a saddle on it, and then you can ride it around like any other horse. They can also wear armor like other horses, which does protect them from burning in the daytime. That's really nice. You can tame them faster by using red mushrooms on them. This is also used in order to heal them, which is a little differently than using like wheat. And they'll also follow you if you're holding these in your hand. Every zombie horse will have the same amount of health, being 25 or equivalent to 12.5 hearts. But they will have unique amount of speed as well as jump. You can still find some nice ones with some good stats. And when killed, they will drop some rotten flesh between 2 and 3, or looting will have an effect. But if you kill the zombie that is riding the zombie horse, this guy will have a chance of dropping red mushrooms on death, and looting has an effect on it. So you could make an inefficient mushroom farm using that. Seems like there's something wrong with banners in this version. They have like the shelf frame texture on them. Sometimes they turn brown, depending on which way you look at them. The menu also got overhauled today. We go over here into our options, go into video settings. They completely changed the layout here. Look at this. They got a section called display. This is all the display stuff. Quality and performance is in this section. And then at the bottom, they have one called interface. Not only did they rearrange stuff to put them in categories, but they also kind of renamed some stuff so it makes more sense, which also includes this new slider here. You can change a slider. This will go through the different qualities so that you got your like your fast quality, there's your fancy, and there's your fabulous. And you can also set it to custom. I guess that's what mine was. There's also these nice little overlays that'll explain like how useful these different things are. And if you have map enabled, they've added new blocks that will take advantage of this. This just makes blocks look a bit nicer, better off in the distance. And the changes overall should increase your frames per second for most players. But there was some stuff that was redundant in this section that you can now find in the accessibility settings here. This will allow you to turn on some higher quality stuff without having to turn up the quality of everything. Also in accessibilities is now controls, so you can easily get to there. They also did add in a whole bunch of new keybinds. If you scroll down here, look at all these keybinds. These are called debug. So for the individual things that you can turn on and off with your F3 debug menu, pushing F3 with any of these will get you the different things to turn on and off. So you could change these to whatever keys you might use that's more easy. You also come in and added in some more debug renders that you can visualize. Before they had like about this many, and now they added all of these. Now they said this is only for debug testing. They might have some problems, but they did say they also made it so that they'll render slightly better. This is kind of cool. You can see all the different aspects of the game, what's going on behind the scenes. We also got a new command, which is /stopwatch, where you then give it a name, then you can create it, then you can restart it, and then when you want to, you can check the time, and it'll tell you how long it's been going on. This is going to be the new method that people that make like maps will use in order to keep track of how much time goes by in the game, because you can't keep track of like the days, because the days can be like added, or if you sleep you can increase those. And before they used to use world borders to do this, but now they're going to change world borders so that they also will move at the same speed as game ticks rather than the actual time that goes by. But I'm guessing they could probably make some little mod that uses this for like speedrunners to see how long it takes them to do stuff. Remember when you're using mending and you'd get an XP orb, your whole sword on the side would bob up and down every time a new orb was absorbed. Apparently this was not intended, so they actually removed this now. Let me know what you think about this. They also increased the netherite armor points for the body slot from 11 to 19. Now a little while ago, if you flew through a vine, it would remove the flying ability and cause you just to drop to the ground. Now this was added a few versions ago on purpose, but it was kind of annoying, people flying through jungles automatically falling down to the ground. So they went ahead and removed the part where it will happen to vines. And now piercing will actually work if there's multiple mobs in the exact same hole, where before it would only end up killing some of them. Mobs will no longer try to chase after you if you switch over to a different game mode or leave the world and log back in again, which was an odd and long time problem. They also fixed several bugs related to the jukebox, and they updated all the Minecraft files needed to add in all of these new things today. Now let's take a look at the changes that came out earlier this week in the full release 1.21.10, and then let's take a look at the new cape and how you can get it. The first thing they fixed with 1.21.10 update is my Breeze Cannon Ender Pearl launcher. During the snapshots, I noticed there was a change to bubble columns, and it was breaking the way the bubble columns were working with entities. So if I would place an Ender Pearl right in here using this crazy chamber that I came up with, notice the pearl went down but then went up quite a bit before it went stationary. But after the fix, now if I come in here and place in a pearl, the pearl will go down, but then it will stay down and it won't float back up again. And this is how it was working in 1.21.8. So now my simple Breeze Cannon Ender Pearl launcher that can send players hundreds of thousands of blocks will work once again. As I mentioned in other videos, I will be doing a tutorial on this. I just been hold off hoping that these bugs will get fixed, and they are now fixed, so look forward to this video and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Now since 1.16, if you would try to push a minecart up while it's clipping into a cobweb nearby, it would just get stuck inside of the actual piston and wouldn't get put on top of it. But in today's update, they fixed this. So now when you power it, it will actually push it above the web, meaning that we can push it above and then we can have it fall back down through the web as a way to make a clock. And I recently did a video showing all these really cool yet really cheap clocks that you can make, which I originally found over 4 years ago. So using this new change, I made an even slower clock than the previous ones, which is this one, and it's even simpler, not even needing slime. Using mostly wood and some iron to get the cobweb, you can make this pretty early game, and it takes an astonishing 2 minutes and 30 seconds for this armor stand to hit the bottom. And once it touches the pressure plate, it just resets it. This fix also applies to other entities in other directions. When they get pushed, they won't get left behind in the cobweb, but will get pushed out in front. This will be nice if you want to have a whole bunch of items like that are individual, get stacked together while they're in a cobweb, and then later move them along a conveyor. Now in 1.21.9, they made it so that the maps will have their bounty boxes stretch all the way to the edge of the block when they are placed inside of item frames, which essentially makes the item frame bigger. And when they did this, it meant that if any block would suffocate the item frame, it would cause it to pop off. This would normally happen if you have like a block beside it that would squish it, where before a carpet wouldn't intersect with it, wouldn't cause any problems. When you place a map in it and become bigger, this would cause it to suffocate and break off. But in the new full release 1.21.10, this is now fixed, so you can have your maps on display with a carpet floor. And in the previous version, if you got teleported, the chunks wouldn't actually load around you, which was also fixed today. But I did hear some people saying that when they got teleported using like wireless redstone to teleport them to their ender pearl, that their ender pearl wasn't loading chunks. So if you had this problem, maybe this is also fixed. By the way, I did come up with an easy wireless redstone machine almost 9 years ago where you could teleport yourself just by relogging. And I showed how you could combine this with the new ender pearl chunk loading to make an easy teleporter, which I'll have the video in the description. There's also a new cape that you guys can get, but you have to participate. This is part of Minecraft's new challenge, which is called Copper Cape Quest. And for the most part, this is a community challenge where there being 3 different challenges. And every time you complete one of the challenges, you get some rewards. So for the first challenge, as a community, they want us to summon in 75 million copper golems, which is all part of the Copper Age drop promotion. Now it's unsure that if you have to summon them in, if it can be done using like spawn eggs, which I've actually done quite a few of just throughout the making of the last few videos, or if it will count if you actually clean off a copper golem statue and turn it back into an entity, or do you actually have to place down the copper block with the pumpkin on top, which I've also did quite a bit, especially in my tutorial where I do the copper golem storage system that can sort every item in the game. But of course I was in creative, and that's another question. We don't know if you have to be in survival in order for your copper golem spawns to count. But however it is, when you do complete it, we get 2 different rewards just for the first challenge. The first one is a copper golem plushie, which you can put on top of your character's head in Bedrock Edition using the character creator. And the second one is for Java Edition. Now they really don't have these cosmetic things in Java Edition, so what they gave Java Edition players is a special skin that they made that Java players can download and put onto their character. And the skin's actually pretty cool. You can see there's lots of copper aspects to it and how it slowly oxidizes to the oxidized parts. I'm not sure what's going on with the arms, or 2 different types of arms. It looks like the skin was based off of this character in Minecraft because he has like this headband, and he also has a prosthetic arm. And they even show him right here, and then this in the background is a new skin, so it makes sense that this little piece is his prosthetic arm, and even has a different kind of like shoulder piece to go along with it. In the second challenge, we can see that we're going to probably get another Java Edition skin, as well as some booties that look like Copper Golem, with the Copper Golem's little antenna rod sticking out the top of it. And then the face right here with the little nose right here sticking out. That should be pretty cool. All the shoe skins are really cool in Bedrock Edition. But the first challenge was actually completed just recently, meaning we get access to the second one, where we can actually see the little copper golem booties, as well as the Java outfit. So they called these the copper golem slippers, and then they called this the copper welder skin, which looks like it does have layers, which is something that Java has. Looks like you have your normal skin underneath, and this layer, which is like the welding shield. And the community will get this outfit once we have got copper golems to sort 500 million items. So it's a great time to build my either small or large copper golem sorting system, which uses redstone to make it 50 times more efficient than any other design. And I've recently just did a tutorial on it, which I'll link down below. And this challenge will end on October 13th, meaning that on October 13th we'll also get access to the new challenge, which is the last one. And that's one where you actually have to participate. So put a reminder on your calendar for October 13th. That way you can participate and actually get the cape on your account. With the last challenge actually giving us the new copper cape, those can probably be some copper colors with maybe different oxidization levels. But unlike the previous 2 challenges where you don't actually have to participate, because as long as the community meets the different goals, you will also get the reward. The last challenge in getting the cape, you do have to participate, which is actually explained down here in the fine print, where it says the third challenge requires individual players' participations to earn the cape. Whatever the challenge is, you have to take part in it with your character in order to actually get it. Now, based off the fine print, it also seems that this can be completed in Java Edition or Bedrock Edition. And because when Microsoft took over, they made it so that they can collect a bunch of data from the players, including what type of blocks you break and stuff like that. so they can actually keep track of like how many copper golems you spawn and other things, and that gets all sent back to their headquarters so they can actually use that to determine if you will get the cape or not. Now see how I designed an automatic farm for almost every single item in the game of Minecraft with this playlist here. Big thanks to all my supporters, and I'll see you guys next one. Bye bye!